Alrighty guys, today we are going to start our Spongebob cell project. And it's the last big project we'll have before we have our test on the cell. So you'll have 3 days in class to work on this. Today, Thursday, and Friday. Tomorrow is Veterans Day, so I don't expect you guys to be taking anything home. You won't have your remote day. It is a day off of school. So relax tomorrow and come back on Thursday ready to work. Let me go through this project for you. If you're looking at it online, unfortunately, I could not make this into a Google Doc or a Cami document. I lost all the formatting with my pictures, so I did make it into a PDF, and you'll just have to create your own Google Doc in order to type stuff out. A little bit more work on your end, but it'll be okay. So SpongeBob SquarePants is a cartoon about a yellow sponge named SpongeBob SquarePants who lives underwater in the Pacific Ocean, in a 2-story pineapple house in a town called Bikini Bottom, with his neighbors Squidward Tentacles and his best friend Patrick Star. He works at the Krusty Krab, the most popular restaurant in Bikini Bottoms, as a chef who cooks their most famous burger, the Krabby Patty. With his job in the Krusty Krab, SpongeBob meets new characters such as his crazy boss named Eugene Krabs, who is in love with money, and Plankton, a tiny sea creature who is determined to steal the Krabby Patty formula and make his restaurant more famous. SpongeBob goes through crazy adventures with his best friend Patrick and Mrs. Puff, his boarding school teacher, who is always going through some trouble when SpongeBob sits behind the wheel of a boat. But with his humorous and optimistic attitude, it doesn't even matter anymore because SpongeBob makes an amazing and fun character. Below, I give you pictures of the main characters and things in the show, and just a little overview of each character. So you are going to be making these different pieces into a cell, and you might use all of them. You may have different ones that you know of that I didn't include, and that's fine. But here are some examples in case you don't know much about SpongeBob. So here's SpongeBob. He's the main character. He's a bubbly fry cook. He makes the Krabby Patties. Bikini Bottom is a town where everyone lives. Here's SpongeBob's house. Patrick Star is SpongeBob's best friend, not very smart, and he follows the group, and he eats a lot. Sandy Cheeks is a friend of SpongeBob. She's very smart and makes big decisions for the group. Sandy's house, she needs oxygen, so it does have a dome shape, and it's dry on the inside. Mr. Krabs is SpongeBob's boss, and he loves money, the owner of the Krusty Krab, and he controls all the employees, so he's in charge. Krusty Krab, where SpongeBob works with Mr. Krabs and Squidward. The Krabby Patties are stored here. Plankton, he tries to steal the Krusty Krab burger recipe, so he's kind of power hungry. And maybe you're starting to think of different organelles that you could put in place of these characters. Mrs. Puff is SpongeBob's boating school teacher. The boat gets SpongeBob from place to place. Squidward works at the Krusty Krab, and he lives next door to SpongeBob. He's grouchy, and he likes to be left alone. Water. Bikini Bottom is filled with water, kind of like the cytoplasm of a cell. Gary is SpongeBob's pet snail. Sometimes they are attached to one another. Bun Delivery Man, he makes deliveries to the Krusty Krab. Bubble Bass is a larger fish who accuses SpongeBob of forgetting pickles. The Antique Store is Mr. Krabs' store of once-used items. The Streets of Bikini Bottom collects all Bikini Bottom to help travel. Connects all Bikini Bottom to help travel. And the Krabby Patty is a famous food for all those in Bikini Bottom. So what you are going to be doing, you are going to remake the animal cell using characters and objects from SpongeBob, the ones that are listed on the previous pages. You are to assign the above characters and objects to these different cellular parts. So I went through these parts in the notes as well. If you are unsure of what any of them are, just take a look back at that. Each of your SpongeBob characters and objects can only be used for one cellular part. None can be used twice. So, for example, if you are looking at the cytoplasm and you say, okay, I'm going to make water the cytoplasm, you cannot use water for another one of these organelles. You have to pick something different. So as you're going through it, you may find a better organelle for one or more. Brainstorm first and write down these ideas on scratch paper because you will make mistakes or you'll find better organelles that fit the characters. That's just how it works. You'll get an idea for one and then you'll be like, oh, wait, no, this one's actually better. Think about the characters and objects and what their role is in the show. I listed some helpful hints under each in case you're not familiar with SpongeBob SquarePants. Then match them with the function of the cellular parts. There are many answers to this project, so if you have different characters than other people, that is okay as long as it, makes sense. Once you have the objects and characters assigned to the cell parts, answer the questions in this packet and explain why you chose each character. Be sure to provide a good explanation. Once you're done with your questions, you'll make your animal cell with your Spongebob people and objects. You are to redraw the cell, but instead of putting the nucleus, Golgi, Ruffiar, etc. in, you are to draw Spongebob people objects in place of those cell parts. You'll also draw an arrow to your Spongebob people or object with a label of what cell part they are representing. For example, if you chose the boat as the lysosome, you will draw the boat instead of the lysosome in the cell and draw and label lysosome. Make sure you make the cell in color. So this is the question sheet that I mentioned before, and this is also what you'll need to recreate in a Google Doc form. So here's your organelle. What character are you choosing to represent that organelle? And the reasoning. So why did you pick this character to represent that organelle? What do they have in common? So they should, share something. Like just scrolling over here, I could say mitochondria, and I could put plankton in there. And I could say, well, the mitochondria, it creates the energy and it's like the powerhouse of the cell, and plankton is kind of power hungry, so he likes power. The mitochondria deals with power. Plankton likes power. So there you go. That would be my reasoning behind it. And you'll do that for each one of these. And then these are the parts that you'll include in your picture. So this is the little rubric. I just tell you how many points you'll get for each thing. Obviously, everybody here is going to get the majority of the points, so you're going to color it for 6 points. You're going to have a picture drawn for each organelle, and you're going to have labels on your picture. So I gave you an example here. This circle is going to be my cell, and you'll start off your picture with a circle as well, because that is an animal cell. And I put this picture of a boat in with Mrs. Puff in it. And I'm saying that this boat is going to be a lysosome because it takes things out of the cell. So I have my boat. In parentheses here, I would write lysosome. And then if I was curious about why you chose that, I would come back up here to where you have your table, and you would have boat in here, and you would have your reasoning behind it. So I would be able to go scroll down to your picture. Oh, there's a boat. That's their lysosome. They said that because it carries things out of the cell. So you're going to do that for all of the organelles, and that's why I'm giving you 3 days in class to work on this. At the end of it, you can take a picture of your work if you're working remotely and submit it to me that way. If you're working in class, you will have a paper copy of this. If you have any questions, please shoot me an email. I will talk to you later. Have a nice day off tomorrow.